Today I want to talk about a topic that's been kind of heavily weighing on my mind recently these past few weeks, and well, more candidly, most of the time I've been watching wrestling. Um, and I want to talk about the attires, the wrestling gear, the tights they wear, the trunks they wear, the shirts, the t-shirts, whatever you want to call it, the attire in general. I can remember growing up as a kid and seeing matches with HBK and The Rock. You have, and even if you want to go back further, you have teams like Rock and Roll Express, the Midnight Rockers. You had the Ultimate Warrior with his crazy colors. You had Hulk Hogan, who had bright popping colors with that red and yellow. A great color scheme, if you ask me. And now today, if you flash to today, we have Roman Reigns, who wears mostly black with a combat vest. You have Kevin Owens, who wears mostly black with a t-shirt with a probably one color design on it. You have John Cena, who wears black trunks and occasionally swaps his armbands. But you don't have any of those crazy great attires that I think of when I think of the wrestling in my childhood. The only people who I can really recall switching up attires and trying something new recently being this past year, 2016, brief 2017, is I think of Dolph Ziggler, who switched up his attire from trunks to tights. I think of AJ Styles, who has changed his attire multiple times, not just at pay-per-views, which I think is also an important thing. Um, that's about it. I guess you could count Kalisto and Sin Cara, because they also tend to change up their attire a lot because of the lucha style. They have these bright colors like pink and lime green, colors that pop and get your attention. And I think that's something that's truly missing in wrestling today. I think we're missing those great flashy attires that we saw when we were kids. And now, granted, some of them back then, I think of some of HBK's famous attires, like his Heartbreak Kid attire that we really loved. Some of those he debuted at WrestleManias and pay-per-views and only wore for pay-per-views, and that's perfectly fine. That's understandable. I think it's good to have attires that you only wear at WrestleMania or only wear for certain pay-per-views. It makes the attire and the appearance that much sweeter. But just regular switching it up in day-to-day wrestling, you hardly see anyone's attire change from SmackDown to SmackDown or Raw to Raw. They just kind of stay the same, and I think that's part of what's creating the stagnation in the product as of late. We have a whole bunch of wrestlers who do a whole bunch of similar moves, wearing a whole bunch of similar attire. No one stands out. No one really pops. And then when someone does pop, for instance, AJ Styles this past year, who switched it up with his blue and black attire, and then he had his red and white attire at WrestleMania, and then he had his, I believe it was white and black attire for Extreme Rules and Payback, and I know he also threw in a gray attire when he won the WWE Championship from Dean Ambrose. So when someone like Styles steps in and switches up his attire constantly, not just at pay-per-views, he really becomes, I think, a more dynamic character, and people will want to see him more. People will go to the shows, if they're fans of Styles, just to see what attire he's wearing that night. Attires can do a lot for an audience. Simple color schemes can really pop an audience. You can have certain superstars walk out and they get a mixed reaction or they don't get that big of a pop. But if they're wearing some crazy attire or maybe a brand new t-shirt, that could really get the fans interested, and the fans could say, hey, I like that look. I want to try and replicate that look. Let me go into WWE shop and see what I can find. I think wrestlers need more creative entrances along with these attires. Now, I think most of the entrances today are good, but I think of the heel Ziggler run where he would wear shirts around his waist, and he would have them like cut off, and he would tie them around like a little cape or a skirt. Entrances like that nobody does anymore. I think of the New Day. They have a fantastic entrance. They pop. They have those bright colors that really get out there. I think that's part of why they're so over. Their blue Bootios t-shirts are so recognizable in the crowd. You see one of those shirts, you instantly go, it's a New Day fan. You don't hesitate. You just know already. And I think that's just missing. I think candidly, most of the female wrestlers have better attire than the male wrestlers in WWE at the moment. I think of Charlotte, just from what I can recall of memory, I know she wore that gold at Hell in a Cell. I know she's worn a black recently, and now she has that ice blue, most recently on Monday Night Raw, that was really nice looking. Sasha Banks has different attires for nearly every pay-per-view and what seems every Raw, and it's great. Her attires seem to be fantastic. She hasn't really missed one yet, in my opinion. Um, on SmackDown, I think of Alexa Bliss, who recently changed her attire, and it looks really good. I think of Naomi, who's really undergone that character change of feeling the glow, and her new attire and her new entrance is great. I think it's fantastic. Um, Becky Lynch, I think, is getting there. I think her attire switches up maybe a bit too often. I think sometimes they just kind of throw stuff together and see what sticks. But I think with if she just kind of sat down for a moment with creative and saw what she could do with some attires, I think it could be really sweet. And finally, still going on about attires, attire affects one of the biggest parts of WWE, and that's the WWE shop. That's t-shirt sales is one of their biggest forms of revenue. Fans like you and me see cool attires and we want to buy that. We want to have a shirt that's that color. We want to have a wristband that's that color. We want to wear a hat that's that color. So if Dolph Ziggler comes out in some crazy pink, like his new shirt that debuted recently in 2017, a lot of people really liked that color. It popped, it got out there. Same with AJ Styles and his recent blue shirts on WWE Shop. They really pop, they get out there. Too many shirts on WWE have a black base, in my opinion. I think they need more color, they need more pop. And you can't really fault the shop for that because they have to work with wrestlers' attire. And wrestlers' attire is bland, as I stated, and it's kind of the same. It's mostly black. It's not really popping. It's not really getting anywhere. But I think if wrestlers really put in some time and change their attire, that's not only going to change the audience's opinion of them and the audience's reaction of them, but for WWE Shop, that gives them a whole bunch of new merchandise opportunities, a whole bunch of new t-shirt colors, a whole bunch of new designs, and a whole bunch of more shirts for the fans to buy, purchase, and want to buy. I think one of the issues with WWE Shop is all the shirts kind of look the same. A lot of the Roman Reigns shirts have the black base with some text. A lot of the Kevin Owens shirt have a black base with some text. A lot of the Finn Balor shirts have some black shirt with some text. It's not much. But I think of the shirts like the Hey It's Bailey vintage shirt in that bright yellow and purple. I think of the Sasha Banks vintage shirt and that looks really great. I think of Ziggler's shirts. I think of AJ Styles shirts. I think of Cena's new merch in that blue and orange, that New York Mets kind of colorway. It really pops. It really gets out there. It really stands out from the black shirts with just the text. So I think wrestling attire can affect a lot. I think it's a chain reaction. Wrestling attire affects fans, and then it affects merchandise. And I think if we can start by changing some of the attires, I'm not saying everyone has to change their attire, absolutely not. That's not realistic. But I think if just a couple superstars go out there and maybe debut some crazy colorway, something new. I think of Seth Rollins' 2016 SummerSlam attire with that lime green, trying something new. Disappointed to say they didn't make a shirt with that. I would have loved to have seen a shirt with the Architect in that lime green and perhaps a black colorway, but I still think that would have been an awesome shirt to see. So I think we should just see better attires, new entrance gear. Entrances don't have to change, but splash some red, splash some yellow, throw some lime green in there, do something to change it up and really get the fans to pop when they come out. So I think wrestling attires could be a key to changing a lot of the stagnation on Monday Night Raw and SmackDown. Alright, that's all for me today, folks. I will see you in another video.